beginner music.
You guys asked, I'm going to answer. What's a triad? Let's get down to it. So a triad would be taking any scale. We're going to go C, D. So we're going to go infinitely in both directions. So these are all the notes of the C major scale. A triad is 3 notes by skipping every other note. Take the C, skip over the D, take the E, skip over the F, and you take the G. That's a 3-note triad. To name a triad, you have to compare it to what you already know for our ruler. So we know that the first triad of any major scale is a major chord. It's a major triad. A triad is just a 3-note chord, by the way. But in traditional music theory, they don't just leave it up to any 3 notes. So for instance, if I did this, if I said C, F, G, we do this a lot. And this is called a sus4 chord. Now in traditional music theory, they wouldn't call this a triad. A 3-note chord, a lot of people consider as simple as that definition as a triad. But in traditional old school music theory, the people who kind of get mad at me sometimes, that would be only that. C, E, G is your first chord. Now let's start on the D. We're going to skip every other note starting on D. So let's write these down. C, E, G. Next, D, skip the E, go to the F, skip the G, go to the A. That's D, F, A. That's number 2. All right, number 3 would be this one. We're going to start on E. So you go E, skip the F, take the G, skip the A, take the B. That would be E. Now we're not identifying these right now, and that's on purpose because we'll do that later on in just a moment. So that's that one. Next one will be F. F, skip the G, take the A, skip the B, take the C. That's F, A, C. That would be the 4th one. Next one. Now we're going to have to start looping through. That's okay. So G, B, skip the C, take the D. Now you see why I drew them like that. This is still the C major scale. Then we go A, skip the B, take the C, skip the D, take the E. So number 6 is going to be A, C, E. Yes. And number 7, we're going to do this guy. We're going to take B, D, F. And then the last one, that's it, actually. That was it. Sorry. So that's the 7 triads that are in the major scale. There is an extra triad that is not in the major scale, but it's another. If instead of the C major scale, we did the C major scale, but we raised the 5th note up a half step to a G sharp, we traditionally would call that A harmonic minor. I call it the C augmented major scale. It's the same 7 notes, whatever you want to call it. It's up to you. All right, so then we have C, E, G sharp. So we're going to put other right here, and this is going to be C, E, G sharp. Now that's the weird one. There's only a couple types of triads. First, we have a major triad. Then we have a minor triad. Then we have diminished. It's a big word. And then we have augmented. Here's how this works. Major, 1, 3, 5 of the major scale. Any chord, any triad that you're trying to know what it is, if you're trying to analyze and say what kind of triad is this, the only thing you have to do to figure this out is to compare it to its own major scales, 1st, 3rd, and 5th note. So C major triad, it's C, E, and G. We would say, well, compare it to a C major scale. We just did this. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. So 1, 3, 5. C, E, G are the notes of a C major scale. So that's the C major triad because it's the 1, 3, 5. A minor triad is 1 and 5, but the middle note is a flat 3. The first note of your major scale and the 5th note of your major scale, but that middle one is 1 note lower. So instead of an E, if it was an E flat, then that would be a C minor triad. All right, so C, E, G is a C major, C, E flat, G is a C minor. Diminished triad, if we had a C, E flat, G flat, so if the E flat and G flat, that would be lowered 3rd and lowered 5 compared to the major triad of 1, 3, 5. So that would be diminished. Augmented is the last one. That would be 1, 3, but the 5 is a sharp 5. It goes up 1, all right? Up a half step. So for instance, augmented C triad would be C, E, G sharp, which if you're smart and you remember that C, E, G sharp, you guys are probably already figuring this out. I'm going to give you a secret. All of these are always the same. These will never change. So the first chord in your major scale is always a major chord, major triad. All right? Let's go to the D, F, A and figure out what that is. Now, remember I said you have to compare it to its own major scale. So now you're thinking, oh God, what the hell is a D major scale? D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp. These guys are smiling and nice, but they're right in the goddamn way. So now the first note, third note, and fifth note of the D major scale. You don't even have to, actually, you know what? You don't even need to go past the fifth note because we know damn well we're only using the first five to do this. So the first five notes of whatever major scale, that's the same letter name as the chord name. So D, F sharp, A. That's the D major scale. So what chord are we trying to figure out? It says D, F, A. Well, wait a minute. D, F, A. This one's different. That one, so what's F sharp to an F? So F sharp is the normal one. That's the major. F is one note lower because it's now no longer sharped. So we lowered the middle note. What do we see here? Which one is a lowered middle note only? There it is, the minor. So that means that this D, F, A is a minor triad. All right, so the major will put a big yellow M. Minor is that one. So let's try the next one, E, G, B. All right, so we already know we have to build an E major scale, at least just the first five notes of it.